Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. Welcome to Day 64. Vice President Kamala Harris will take over efforts to address illegal immigration at the U.S. Mexico border. Harris plans to work in the near term to slow the flow of irregular migrants by addressing the root causes that prompt them to leave their home countries. Long term, Harris says she will be responsible for establishing a strategic partnership with Mexico and countries in the Northern Triangle, which include El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. Harris says that partnership will be based on respect and shared values to enhance prosperity, combat current corruption, and strengthen the rule of law. Moving on, gun violence killed nearly 20,000 Americans in 2020, making it the deadliest year so far for gun violence in at least 2 decades. The next highest recent year for shooting deaths was 2017, when nearly 16,000 people were killed. In 2020, people purchased roughly 23 million guns, a 64% increase over 2019 sales. Back in D.C., Biden extended the special enrollment period for purchasing Affordable Care Act health plans by 3 months, pushing it back till August 15th. The second extension will help enrollees take advantage of the enhanced subsidies present in the COVID-19 relief package. Meanwhile, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell clashed during a Senate Rules Committee hearing on a Democratic plan to overhaul federal elections and expand voting rights. The legislation under consideration is called the For the People Act, which would, 1, make it easier to vote, but also enact new campaign finance laws and end partisan gerrymandering of congressional districts. The bill passed the House earlier this month with no Republican support, and it faces steep odds of passing in the 50-50 Senate, where it will need at least 60 votes to advance. Schumer said today, in the 21st century, there is a concerted nationwide effort to limit the rights of citizens to vote and to truly have a voice in their own government, and he called Republican legislative efforts at the state level to restrict voting access an existential threat to our democracy, reminiscent of Jim Crow segregationist laws. Schumer added, "Shame, shame, shame." Mitch McConnell, however, told the Rules Committee that the bill is a solution in search of a problem, which would create an implementation nightmare for election administrators and officials, and said it was an invitation for chaos. Joe Manchin demanded that any voting rights legislation be bipartisan, saying we should not at all attempt to do anything that will create more distrust and division. Moving on, members of the Oath Keepers coordinated with the Proud Boys and other paramilitary groups in advance of Trump's January 6th rally. According to new evidence filed by the Justice Department, Kelly Meggs, the Florida leader of the Oath Keepers, said in private messages on Facebook that he coordinated with Proud Boys leadership, saying, "I organized an alliance between Oath Keepers, Florida 3%ers, and Proud Boys. We have decided to work together and shut this shit down." A week later, Meggs sent another private message that said, "Trump's staying in. He's going to use the emergency broadcast system on cell phones to broadcast to the American people. Then he will claim the Insurrection Act. Then wait for the 6th when we are all in D.C. to insurrection." And finally, the United States dropped 11 points in a global ranking of political rights and civil liberties over the last decade. The U.S. earned 83 out of 100 possible points, putting it on par with countries like Panama, Romania, and Croatia, and behind countries such as Argentina and Mongolia. A decade ago, the United States received a score of 94 out of 100. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.